All right, guys, so I have the best news that I've heard all day, which is that George Floyd's honorary nephew, Mr. Cortez Rice, has been arrested in Waukesha, Wisconsin. And the reason why he got arrested is because he was stupid enough to post a video on the internet of him trying to intimidate the judge of the Kim Potter trial. Right now, the Kim Potter trial is a trial involving Daunte Wright, in which the police officer, Ms. Kim Potter, allegedly accidentally shot Daunte Wright. Okay, now I did a video on this a while back, right? When this first happened in regards to Mr. Cortez putting out a video on the internet of him going up to the judge's home, I literally talked about that, right? And in that video, he also talked about trying to intimidate the Rittenhouse jury as well, right? So this guy is not that bright, right? He's not that bright at all. Now, again, this is great news. And I'm calling him George Floyd's honorary nephew because there were reports that he was George Floyd's nephew. He basically was calling himself George Floyd's nephew, right? But come to find out, it was one of those things where Floyd called him his nephew and said that he was family even though they weren't actually blood, so he just kind of ran with it. Now, allegedly, George Floyd's family has told him, bruh, stop saying that you're his nephew. Please, okay? You're giving us a bad name, right? But he's still rolling with it, right? So I'm calling him George Floyd's honorary nephew because, hey, apparently that's what he wanted to be called, according to Black News Network, right? Yes, he's been arrested. And again, this right here, guys, I'm so happy to hear this. And the reason why is because I've been talking about this, is that there's a dangerous precedent being set on the left when it comes to trying to influence the outcomes of these trials, right? Which, in my opinion, is eroding the sovereignty and integrity of our judicial system, okay? And it's one of those things that we've seen happen on the left that the mainstream liberal media is ignoring and trying to act like it's not happening, but it is happening. You have people out here that are actively trying to intimidate juries and judges to get outcomes and trials that they want, particularly when it comes to these high-profile trials, like the Daunte Wright trial or like the Rittenhouse trial, in which the left-wing extremists, they're going to get super outraged if they don't get the outcome that they want. So before we get more into this, I want you guys to actually watch the news clip involving this incident, and then we'll go from there.
We are now 3 weeks away from jury selection in the Kim Potter trial. The former Brooklyn Center police officer charged with manslaughter for the shooting death of Daunte Wright. But authorities are concerned about an incident over the weekend in which protesters went to the home of the judge. Lou Ragoose joins us now with more. Lou?
Well, Julie, unlike the Derek Chauvin trial, so far Judge Regina Chu is not allowing cameras in the courtroom for Potter's trial. Now, on Saturday night, protesters upset with that went all the way to what they believed was her front door in a scene that's upsetting to a lot of people.
I know where I'm at.
The live stream begins with activist Cortez Rice on the floor of the condo where he says Judge Regina Chu lives.
We got confirmation that this is her house right here.
Judge Chu is presiding over the trial of Kim Potter, the former Brooklyn Center officer charged with manslaughter for shooting Daunte Wright.
The judge stay in this nice, predominantly white neighborhood, this nice little white building.
Rice lingers by the door, then yells out the window at other protesters.
Hey, yo!
And walks outside after a resident on the floor questions him.
Is there a reason why you're yelling out the window? Yeah, to let the gang know we up in this bitch.
Outside, Rice joins about 20 other protesters yelling for Judge Chu to allow cameras in the courtroom for the Potter trial.
We need those cameras in that courtroom, lady!
What's your reaction having watched a little bit of that video?
I understand the First Amendment. I understand that people have a right to protest, but you want to have a protest that's effective. And this is a monumentally stupid way to go about to express your opinion.
Former Chief Judge of Hennepin County District Court Kevin Burke, now retired, says the tactic is ineffective because no judge would make a ruling out of intimidation for the obvious precedent it would set.
It is not at all designed to be an effective protest. It's just popping off in a pretty dumb way.
Many people inside the condo called 911, and Minneapolis police are now looking into it. Rice deleted his live stream, but returned today to defend his actions, claiming he was not intimidating Judge Chu.
It's very unfortunate for y'all little-minded people. It's so very unfortunate.
And I reached out to Judge Chu and Chief Judge Todd Barnett. and was told Judge Chu is unable to comment on pending cases or possible investigations stemming from that protest, and that Chief Judge Barnett is in contact with the Hennepin County Sheriff's Office, and he's confident that the security and safety plans that they have in place for the trial. Back to you.
So Lou, to be clear, he was on private property if he was in that hallway ostensibly, but outside of that, is it legal? You can go right to a judge's house? There's no law about that saying you can't intimidate a member of the court?
No, basically it's a trespassing issue, and so there could be trespassing if they trespass, but if they're on public property, there's no law.
They're outside on the
street.
street.
There's no law.
Okay. Thank you, Lou.
Yeah, so it has to be noted, guys, that right after that protest, right after this dude posted that video online of him basically trying to intimidate her at her home, or what allegedly was her home, the judge changed course, right? And she allowed the trial to be live streamed, right, to be recorded. Initially, the protest was because she wasn't allowing cameras in the courtroom. She wasn't going to allow it to be recorded. So that's why they were protesting, right? Because they wanted her to do that. Again, a few days later, literally like 2 days after that, she was like, okay, well, I'm going to change course, right? Now, she claims it's not because she was intimidated, right? It's not because of the protest, but I'm telling you, I mean, come on, let's use some common sense, right? 2 days after these people were showing up to your door, or what allegedly was your door, and you gonna change course, right, over the thing that they were actually protesting about, you definitely are intimidated, right? She's scared, right? The judge is scared, which in my opinion signals that this officer might not get a fair trial, right? So, I mean, again, this is the problem, guys, I'm talking about, right? These people may have an effect on the juries and these officers in the courtroom because of their protests and their threats, right? So again, this is a huge issue that I'm going to keep talking about, because this stuff right here threatens the sovereignty and integrity of our criminal justice system. So let's read here. A Minneapolis activist has been charged with attempting to intimidate the judge handling the trial for the ex-police officer Kim Potter, facing manslaughter charges in the April shooting of Daunte Wright. Cortez Rice, 32, has been charged with felony harassment with aggravated violations, tampering with a jury, or retaliating against a judicial officer. KSTP reported he was taken into custody in Waukesha County, Wisconsin on Monday. The criminal complaint wasn't unsealed until Friday. He is being held at Waukesha County Jail, awaiting extradition back to Minnesota to face the charges out of Hennepin County. It's not clear why he was in Waukesha, but that era has been getting national news attention since the deadly Christmas parade attack the weekend before Thanksgiving. He probably was there with some of these other clowns, right? Trying to help out old dude, Daryl Brooks, that's locked up. That's probably what they was doing, about to be protesting for that guy, right? That's probably what they was doing out there, right? What other reason would he be there for? What other reason? Up to no good. Rice is accused of participating in a November 6th demonstration outside of downtown Minneapolis condominium complex. He and others believed to be where Hennepin County Judge Regina Chu lived. The alleged purpose was to intimidate her to allow a camera inside the courtroom for Potter's trial. According to the criminal complaint, Rice entered the building near Minneapolis Loring Park while live streaming himself on YouTube. "We are on our heels," he is heard saying in the video, according to court documents. "What she think? We want cameras. The people deserve to know." Once outside the door of a 12th floor unit, he allegedly stated, "I don't know if this is her crib. I think this is her crib right here. We got confirmation that this is her house right here. It's unclear if the unit belonged to Chu at the time or if she was present during the incident." The live stream, laced with profanity, also captured Rice threatening, "We are here for one person in particular." He later shouted Chu's name and called out, "We demand transparency. We'd hate you to get kicked out of your apartment." The complaint obtained by the Minneapolis Star Tribune says a different protester is heard saying the demonstration was just a trial run and they'd be back. Interviewed by police afterwards, Chu told investigators it was her belief that the intention was to intimidate her and to interfere with the judicial process. The complaint says, according to CARE, the warrant for Rice's arrest was issued on November 24th. Chu had initially ruled in August that she would not allow recording or live streaming of Potter's trial. Days after the incident involving protesters targeting what was believed to be her home, the judge cited the state of the coronavirus pandemic and the Delta variant in her reversal, and now permitting the live stream. Jury selection for Potter's trial wrapped up last week, and opening arguments began Wednesday. Yeah, so just like the Democrat Party, right? I'm not sure what political affiliation this judge has, but when all else fails, just blame the pandemic, right? Blame the pandemic is the reason, right? In changing course about the live stream, Chu wrote in her November 9th ruling that the timing of the protest was unfortunate but had no impact on her decision. She affirmed the bedrock of our democracy is the rule of law, and that means we must have an independent judiciary and judges who can make decisions independent of the political winds that are blowing protests or attempts at intimidation. Yeah, right. You should have just kept it not recorded, right? If that was the case, why even make it look like they intimidated you? Is it really that important for it to be recorded? Right? I think that's an important question, because if you're saying it didn't happen and you're talking about how important it is, right, that you have an independent judiciary and judges, why in the world would you change course like that right after those protests, right? Because all that's going to do is embolden these people. It's going to let them know, hey, this works, right? Look at her. She changed course. She allowed it to be recorded after we showed up at her door. Again, this stuff right here sets a dangerous precedent. And I think this judge, man, is low-key being weak by reversing course and then trying to blame it on the virus, right? You should have just stuck to your guns. If not just for the simple fact that this would basically make it look like what they did actually worked, right? She should have just stuck to her guns. About a month before the incident, Rice had appeared before Chu on October 4th after allegedly violating his probation following a 2017 conviction for illegal weapons possession. Court records show the judge at the time ruled to allow Rice to continue probation instead of sending him back behind bars. See, that's her fault, being soft on him. Should have put him back behind bars, right? Should have put him back behind bars. Because if he was behind bars where he belongs, then that wouldn't have happened. But you let him out and you were soft on him, right? And that allowed him basically to show up to your door and protest. It's not like he gave a damn about the fact that you were soft on him, right? He didn't give you any sympathy, right? And then right after that, you now allow the trial to be recorded after saying that you wouldn't allow it to be recorded. Again, these people, man, the things that they do, bending to the woke mob, again, is setting a dangerous, dangerous, dangerous precedent in our country. But I am happy, right, that he has been arrested. Okay, and we need to see a lot more of this, right? I think those people at NBC News should have been arrested for allegedly following a jury out there in Kenosha, right, after the Rittenhouse trial. They should have been arrested, right? They should have been arrested and charged because to me, it seemed obvious what they were trying to do, that they were trying to tamper with the jury or expose their location or something like that. So guys like this can go pull up to their homes and intimidate them. Right? This is something that is actively happening on the left. It is a tactic that they're using, and it must be called out. And this is something that has to be addressed. Otherwise, yeah, this is the real threat to democracy, right? This is the real threat. Okay? Democrats always want to talk about a threat to democracy. This is it. If you're serious about democracy and the rule of law, you have to call this out, right? This cannot be acceptable. But we know the left doesn't really believe the things they say. They don't play by their own rules. And the fact that they're ignoring this just proves that point, right? It just proves the point. But let me know what you guys think. Make sure you like, comment, and subscribe. Most importantly, share a Black conservative perspective. Peace.